The best way of understanding sati or mindfulness is through some of the similes that we find woven into the early teachings. And when we look at these similes and the images that are used, we understand what a finely nuanced word sati is. That there's no one word that captures it. And this is something that the early translators struggled with, to find one word that captured this spectrum of nuance that is held within this word sati. So the early translators borrowed this word mindfulness from the Gospels. I'd like to touch on some of these similes, some of these images, and the reason why it is important to know these nuances or these different aspects of mindfulness is that because in different moments of experience in our life, it might be helpful to foreground one of these aspects of mindfulness over the others. If I'm in a place of being very confused, muddled, it might be helpful to draw on this aspect of mindfulness which is concerned with investigation. If I'm feeling very overwhelmed by impulse or by habit patterns, it might in that moment be helpful for me to draw upon this element of mindfulness, which is more about being protected, protective awareness. If I was to find myself in the midst of feeling very contracted, very closed down, it might be helpful for me to draw upon the aspect of mindfulness that is more concerned with spaciousness, with holding a big picture, with not seizing upon particulars or details, a more inclusive awareness. So some of these images or some of these similes you might be familiar with. The Buddha speaks about sati, or likens sati to a person standing on a watchtower, on an elevated watchtower, and having an overview of the panorama that surrounds them, that they are in the midst of, without seizing upon any particular aspect of that panorama. So it gives a sense of this spaciousness, this inclusivity, the non-preferential awareness. Another of the images that is used is the image of a parent cradling their sick or ailing child with tenderness and care. And this particular simile, or this image, really speaks to the qualitative tone of mindfulness. This sense of befriending, of being a friend to, of caring. It is found very much also in the teaching of metta, of boundless friendliness, which the Buddha actually names as a sati, of mindfulness. Another of the images that is used is of a farmer plowing a field, something I mentioned before, knowing just the right amount of weight and pressure to put upon the plow if the seeds were to thrive. Another, I think, of the very powerful images is the gatekeeper, a wise gatekeeper, standing at the gates of a city. And the role or the job of the gatekeeper is to welcome in all of the visitors who intend to serve the well-being of the city and its inhabitants, and recognizing but not entertaining the visitors who turn up at the gates, who seek to undermine the well-being of the city and its inhabitants. This element of sati, or mindfulness, as protective awareness, is really drawing upon something we've already spoken about, this quality of discernment, of knowing what is helpful and what is unhelpful, what to feed and to nourish and what not to entertain. It draws upon that discernment that says, these visitors will lead to the end of affliction. These visitors will lead to the furthering of affliction. And I think many of us learn in the development of mindfulness how to be the wise gatekeeper of our own hearts and minds, knowing what to welcome and to nourish and foster, and knowing what not to welcome. This element of discernment is the bridge between seeing and responding.